Hi, we will learn about trigger. Let's take a very simple example. You're walking into a room and the lights are turning on automatically. There are no switches, no efforts, it just work. In a similar manner, triggers work. For example, you want to do some kind of operation in a table in the database. Like for example, you want to insert a record, or you want to delete a record from the table, or you want to update something into the table. So you can create trigger in these events, right? So for example, we are taking example of bank system. So John Doe wanted to withdraw money, let's say, from the bank, and before withdrawing the money, the bank will check his account in the back end, right? So here we are having a simple table of accounts which is having account id, account holder name, and balance. Okay, so I can make a trigger because I want to check a balance of that customer before I will allow them to withdraw the money. So they should have the valid amount in the bank, right? So I can create trigger. So whenever I'm going to withdraw money, so bank will update the account balance after deducting the withdrawal money, right? So we are updating something, the bank is updating into the table. So what I'm doing, so I am creating the trigger on update operation. And what I want to update account table, but not in that case where the user is not having a valid amount balance. So why I'm using before here, because I want to check that record. I want that this trigger should be executed before this update operation, right? So I am writing here before update. So this is a very simple syntax in MySQL. So you can write create trigger, then you can give a trigger name. So I'm here taking check balance before update, so you should give a very meaningful name here. So I'm checking the balance before updating that record, right? And I'm executing it for each and every row. So here we are having only one record for the account, for example here John Doe, but there can be a case like there can be more than one record for that customer. So I want to execute this trigger for each and every record, right? And I'm using delimiter this with this symbol because in MySQL the default delimiter is semicolon, and in trigger we are writing a set of SQL commands or operations here. So in that case the MySQL interpreter will get confused, and I don't want that. That's why I am converting this delimiter to this, and then I'm converting it back to semicolon here. Okay, so now we will see this logic. So what I'm doing here, I'm just checking the balance. It should not be less than 0. So if it is less than 0, that means the account balance is invalid, right? So I am throwing a very generic user exception here for 45,000 error code, and I am returning a error message here, that is error insufficient balance, the balance cannot be negative. So let's say John Doe is having account 1, right? So I want to withdraw $200 from John Doe account. So if I write here uh, 500 minus 200, because the balance is 500, so it will become 300, right? $300. So it should work. In that case, this trigger will get executed on this update command, so before updating the record, right? So it will check, and it will check the new balance. The new balance is 300. 300 is less than 0. This is not true, so it will not execute. So it will not going to throw any kind of exception. So let's try it out. So I am updating it, so it should become 300, right? Okay, so let's fetch the account balance here. So now you can see the John Doe is having $300 into his account, right? And now what I want to check the second scenario. I want to check if it is executing or not. Like I want to make the balance negative. Now what I'm doing here, I want to withdraw $600 from John Doe account. So whether it will allow us or not, it will depend on the balance, right? So you can see here it is invalid case, we are having only $300 in John Doe account, but we are trying to withdraw 600. The 300 minus 600 is minus 300, so it will become a negative amount, right? So we will not going to update in that case, so it should throw error, this error message in that case, right? So let's try to update this record. So now you can see we are getting exception here. So let me copy this and show you. So we are getting this the same error, insufficient balance, the balance cannot be negative. And when I fetch this account, so you can see it is not being updated here, like it is the same, the 300, because it is not the valid case. So this is a trigger. So I am creating a table or a trigger on update event. So you can create it on insert, delete, or you can write after here, after update, before update. So I want to check before updating that record. So let's say there would be a case where you want to check after update. Once the update is successful into the table, in that case the after trigger will get executed. So it will depend on the use case. So this is all about triggers. Thank you.